Hi, everyone. Today I am listening to this week's Patreon poll winner, and I am both eager and excited, and I have to say something about it because, well, we just finished. We just walked in. I walked into the studio, and Vlad said, "This is what you're listening to. It's the poll winner," and we had this discussion. I said, "Haven't I heard that piece before? There is something that sounds it." I think I've heard it somewhere before, but I can't place. We even searched through my channel on YouTube to see, did I do a first listen to it somewhere way back when? We cannot find. I don't know when or how much of this song I've heard, but knowing that it's called Vincent and knowing that it's about Van Gogh, I have this idea that I have heard or perhaps read about the song somewhere along the way. That's all I know. So, with that out of the way, this is Don McLean's Vincent from 1972. I have listened to American Pie. That is my exposure to Don McLean to date. McLean said the following about the genesis of the song. In the autumn of 1970, I had a job singing in the school system, playing my guitar in classrooms. I was sitting on the veranda one morning. What a wonderful job, by the way. What a wonderful thing to have in schools. I was sitting on the veranda one morning reading a biography of Van Gogh, and suddenly I knew I had to write a song arguing that he wasn't crazy. He had an illness, and so did his brother Theo. This makes it different in my mind to the garden variety of crazy, because he was rejected by a woman, as was commonly thought. So I sat down with a print of Starry Night and wrote the lyrics out on a paper bag. Okay, nice. In July 2020, the original handwritten lyrics went up for sale for $1.5 million. Oh, I guess I want to see those. I have this idea in my mind of those handwritten lyrics somehow framed or placed next to Van Gogh's Starry Night. I don't know. I feel like that would be a great wall hanging in my home or something.
Starry, starry night, blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Shadows on the hills, sketch the trees and the daffodils, catch the breeze and the winter chills in colors on the snowy linen land. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, how you suffered for your sanity, how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now.
I find myself captivated by this melody. It's so delicate. It's so fragile and simple. I'm trying to think what other songs, and somehow in my mind, maybe it's because of the shape of the opening line, I find myself going towards yesterday. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. This kind of has the same opening, doesn't it? Starry, starry night. Without the yesterday. So it's perhaps a little bit less, there's less of a weighty opening. It just, starry, starry night. As if we're watching someone sprinkle stars across the sky. And I love the fact that he manages to work in, weave throughout this song the image of that famous painting. Starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray. of course, it goes further. But a line like this, in colors on the snowy linen land. Linen land, snowy linen land. What a line. I almost feel like, yes, I do think that there's something incredibly poetic and artistic in the way that he has composed these lyrics. But it's the melody too. So fragile, so ephemeral. Something so delicate. And I wouldn't call it. It's interesting also the musical style compared to the Van Gogh's style, because somebody sitting down to write a song with that painting in mind could go all sorts of kind of more modern musical directions. This is more folk style, simple melody, simple accompaniment. And so stylistically, there are some real contrasts. And yet, it is so beautiful. And I guess I like it.
They did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now. Starry, starry night.
I like the way he's working in. So also, I like the way that he's working in with his guitar playing. Little continuations of melody or melodic linking material. For example, here.
Your sanity, how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did
Coming
not
up.
know how.
Here.
Perhaps they'll listen.
Oh, it's here. Perhaps.
Starry, starry night.
That little bit of bum, 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 as he's walking back towards the opening Starry, Starry Night. Bum, 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 just gently woven into the guitar accompaniment. It's so nice. And one of the things that I always admire when I hear somebody, whether it's guitar or harp or piano or any accompaniment style instrument, you have all these accompaniment patterns that are there to provide support and texture and color. And you can continue with that. It's fine. But when somebody manages to not exactly turn it into a whole different melodic line or duet with the instrument, but still there are these little moments of instrumental line. And to me, to my ears, and my own personal likings and tastes, it feels like it just elevates the piece to a whole different level. And just those few notes, bum, 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 as he continues, not really drawing attention to them, but they are beautiful linking material, transition material, taking us back. So simple, so easy, and yet so perfect, especially being a descending line, preparing for the voice to ascend again.
Starry, starry night. Flaming flowers that brightly blaze, swirling clouds in violet haze, reflect in Vincent's eyes of china blue. Colors changing.
It's such a blend of
morning fields of amber grain, weathered faces lined in pain are soothed beneath the artist's loving hand. Now I understand.
a little bit more agitated here.
What you tried to say to me, how you suffered for your sanity, how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now, for they could not love you. but still your love was true. And when no hope was left in sight on that starry, starry night, you took your life as lovers often do. But I could have told you, Vincent, this world was never meant for one as beautiful as you. Starry, starry night, portraits hung in empty halls, frameless heads on nameless walls.
I notice how incredibly visual this poetry is. The lyrics to this song. So visually descriptive. Colors changing hue. Or back to here. Flaming flowers that brightly blaze, swirling clouds in violet haze, reflect in Vincent's eyes of china blue. It's almost like it's a whole new painting. And then even this line, are soothed beneath the artist's loving hand. Well, that's less visually descriptive. It's more, but still, it wraps everything up so nicely. This, and the next lines, now I understand what you tried to say to me and how you suffered for your sanity, how you tried to set them free. They would not listen. They did not know how. And as much as this is a tribute to Van Gogh and an acknowledgement of his beauty as a person, in spite of his own struggles and illness, I feel like it is also a beautiful recognition of the fragility of the artist's spirit. Because, and I don't want to say that every artist has these struggles, but it is true, and I say this many times, that genius is a fine line between sanity and insanity. Many of the most incredible artists throughout history, not just artists, but genius minds of all kinds, have lived on the edge of insanity and sometimes fallen over into insanity. There is something about what it takes, the sensitivity, the intellectual capacity, all of that. And when I think about it, I become incredibly grateful that I am not one of those. I don't envy their struggles. And it is a blessing and a curse, isn't it? But it's the truth. Everything from someone like Beethoven to Van Gogh to, of course, I'm thinking musicians because that's where my mind goes. But even some of the Nobel Peace Prize winners, who was it, Vlad, that won the Nobel Peace Prize for? There was a movie about him, called A Beautiful Mind, and his struggles with schizophrenia, and yet he made such a huge impact on the world with some of his life's work. All of these things.
John Nash.
Yes. Okay. Oh, okay. It's been a while since I watched the movie, but I remembered watching it and thinking how incredibly fragile the human spirit is, and yet how incredibly resilient. This balance of fragility and resilience. Well, I'm kind of digressing from the music here, but I feel like this piece captures so much of that without a lot of fanfare, and beautifully portrays the special nature of what it is to be an artist, a real artist.
Starry, starry night. Portraits hung in empty halls, frameless heads on nameless walls, with eyes that watch the world and can't forget, like the strangers that you've met, the ragged men in ragged clothes, a silver thorn, a bloody rose, lie crushed and broken on the virgin snow. Now I think I know.
I like the way when he sings, "Now I think I know." He also takes the guitar and suddenly starts working parallel. Now I think I know. And that added emphasis, it changes the whole quality, as if there's a moment of reflection and suddenly revelation. Now I think I know. But there's a little hesitancy too. Now I think I know.
A silver thorn, a bloody rose.
Listen what the guitar does here.
Lie crushed and broken on the virgin snow. Now I think I know what you tried to say to me, how you suffered for
And the
your
music
sanity,
soars through there.
how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they're not listening still. Perhaps they never will.
I think it's incredibly beautiful. Something about the way he sings it, his voice, the lyrics, the guitar, the incredible simplicity, delicacy, fragility, sensitivity that comes through. It all becomes such a beautiful portrait in itself. And I love that. I truly do. It's an absolutely beautiful piece of music. And this last line is kind of sticking with me. They would not listen. They're not listening still. Perhaps they never will. And I guess it's sticking with me because of what I read at the beginning, that McLean had a job singing in the school system, playing my guitar in the classrooms. And the place of art in society, the place of art in the human experience, and the service that artists, their service to humanity. And so when we come to this last line, it hurts, it does. But it's an acceptance of the fact that, yes, although this is such an important part of the human experience, this is such a beautiful gift and treasure. Yes, most of them don't, cannot, will not, however it is, they don't, and perhaps they never will. And yet, does that mean it's not worth it? Does that mean it's not worth it for someone like Van Gogh to have lived and offered what he did, dealt with his struggles? And I have to say, it is absolutely worth it. Because without it, we're less human, aren't we? And so much about this story captures so many of those elements of what it is to be human, to be alive, to be sensitive, to be open, to experience and grow and develop, and to suffer through it, even because of it. And yet we do it because we are human. Such a beautiful piece. Thank you all for choosing, for voting for this. It was a beautiful experience, and I'm so looking forward to what you choose for me next week. I'll see you then.